I kind of wanted to go over the sugar diet. I made another video on it already about how I lost 20 kilos in the past, doing a very similar diet, not exactly the sugar diet, what I would call a reasonably high glycemic index diet, but this diet I'm doing now is much more closer to the sugar diet. So I've been on this sugar diet for 3 months. I've gone from 100 kilos to 92 kilos. The goal is to get down to 80 kilos, so that's another 12 kilos to go. So yeah, if you'd like to see how I go, feel free to follow along. I will keep updating information on my progress. But yeah, in the last video, I spoke about some really good information, which I was hoping a lot more people would get exposure to. So if you want to see that video, I talked about some of the best methods to lose weight that is currently available on the internet from what I've seen. And if you're interested in looking at that information up, you can have a look at other videos and see if you can find that information. But the only problem is, because I was a personal trainer for a long time, I know that most people, a lot of my clients would not understand those videos because it's a bit of a biology lesson. So if you want me to break it down in simple terms and learn some of the best ways to lose weight, that's in my other video, which I highly recommend. And for this video, I wanted to go in a bit more about the sugar diet and what I'm actually eating, because the last video kind of overemphasized about milk. I felt like people might have been thinking I'm drinking a lot more milk than I actually am, and I wanted to go into some of the other foods I eat. So some of the foods I do eat are grapes, dates, oranges, and they are the main ones which a lot of people are using, specifically dates. I found a lot of people were using, and I think it's because dates is a bit starchy, so you get a bit more of a consistent energy on it. At the same time, they give you a high, they're quite high glycemic, so that way you get a lot of good energy that you'd get from something like grapes or oranges with dates. But because they're a bit more starchy, they also give you a bit more of a longer sustainable energy at the same time. So I think that's why dates are so popular. My fiance introduced me into those, and I found them to work really great. I actually never tried them before that. And then I also found grapes and oranges work really well. Grapes working great because they're hydrating me really well. And when you're dieting, or especially for me, but all people, when you diet, you're going to get very dehydrated. So having dates is not very hydrating, but if you're having grapes, that's very hydrating. And then I found oranges to work probably one of the best things I've tried, because oranges are high in vitamin C, and that vitamin C, the nutrients in there, was giving me in particular a huge boost of energy, and same with my fiance. So also when I used to train my clients, I used to have a little concoction which healed every single client from a cold if they caught the cold early, which was oranges, blueberries, beetroots blended up in a smoothie. And when you make, like, let's say, a liter of that smoothie, which is just so you can try it yourself, some type of berry, oranges, you could chuck a green in there as well, like chuela, and beetroot. And when you make a liter of that, you sip a little in the morning, you sip a little at night. If you can, sip a little in the middle of the day, because it's about the consistency of the antioxidants, which is going to help you get over the cold. And within 3 days, all my clients will get over their colds. Unless the cold's fully set in, then, it could take a bit longer. But if you catch it just as you feel the cold coming, you should be able to get rid of that cold in 3 days, instead of it being, 1 week, 2 weeks, or, a month. Or some clients I've seen, some people I've had before I trained them would get colds for 3 months until they tried this little recipe. So in that recipe, the oranges in particular, I think, were giving people a lot of energy as well. And so when I use the oranges, I found it gave me extreme amount of energy, more energy than grapes, more energy than dates, and also such low calories. I could consume orange juice, freshly squeezed orange juice from oranges that I made myself, because you're going to get much different nutrition if you didn't know. Even if you're getting a cold pressed juice, it's not the same as getting oranges yourself and squeezing them. It's completely different. And it's different again from a cold pressed juice to a reconstituted juice. Better than constituted juice is reconstituted, but unless it's cold pressed, it's going to be better than reconstituted, and then even better again is to squeeze it yourself. There is a big difference between cold press and squeezing oranges yourself. So I was squeezing these oranges myself, and I was getting extreme amounts of energy, low calories, And so for the amount of energy I got out of those calories to exercise, I was burning significantly more than I was consuming. So I found that to be one of the best. And another source of energy I used on this diet was cocoa, because cocoa was, if you didn't know, it's in chocolate. And if you get good quality cocoa, like in particular the best is cocoa butter, and you add that to a chocolate, or you make, my missus makes brownies out of them, but I just also mix it with milk and honey. You get a lot of energy out of that without having to consume caffeine. So what else did I eat on the diet? Honey and berries I also ate on the diet, and kefir. This was a choice to get more nutrition in the diet. So honey, berries, and kefir were some of the things that I used to eat on a regular basis to get energy, at the same time get nutrition. Because the other foods I had in my diet that gave me more nutritional value were things that slowed down my energy levels. So I found I couldn't eat them as much. So having something in there like honey, berries, and kefir is a really great choice to get energy without having to eat something that's going to slow you down. Because the reason that people love this diet so much is not only is it tasty, but it also gives you tons of energy, especially in the fast-paced lifestyle like we have today in our modern society. Whether it's in, speaking at this debate with my missus, if you're in a more traditional village, rudimentary society, much more slow-paced, a keto diet would work so much better. But in a society like we have today, where people are high-paced, everything is on the go, this diet, it really is a good diet to choose. So, like I said, I'm going to be reposting my progress. I'm 3 months into this extremely high glycemic index diet, the sugar diet. So we'll keep reposting how I go, so feel free to follow along. But I also wanted to talk about that later in the day. So I'm having fruit pretty much, the whole day, 75% of the day. And once we get to that last end of the day section, I will have more high nutritional value foods. So they are fermented foods. And the reason I'm having specifically fermented foods, not only can you get 25 times the potency of the nutrition, but you're consuming less calories. So because it's more nutritious, you don't have to consume as much, and because you don't have to consume as much, it doesn't slow you down as much, and you have to eat less to be healthy, and you consume less calories. So fermented beetroot, fermented honey and garlic, fermented ginger, fermented organ meats, and then I don't have eggs and sardines I have fermented, I have them just normal, and then cod liver supplement as well, because you want to get those omega-3s, which is the only thing organ meats don't have a lot of. So cod liver supplement, really essential. If you do have sugar, I recommend getting jelly beans for diabetes, which people get from pharmacies. I also use Hydrolyte Sports Edition and dextrose as well. These have glucose in it, which is different to sugar. It tastes just like sugar though, so if you're doing this diet because you want to have something tasty like sugar, like honey, like oranges, then choosing these as your source of sugar is much better than just refined sugar, because glucose, it acts different to refined sugar. There is a difference. And dextrose is also a really good choice. There also is some fast carb supplements which you can get from supplement stores, so I highly recommend those too if you want that high source of energy. These are, I mentioned in the other video, a good time to have this sugar is when your energy level's low, or you need your energy to be extremely high because you're about to do something very intense, like high interval intense training, HIIT training. Or if you took too long to eat. As I mentioned in the last video, I go into more detail about this, so check that video out in terms of how to apply this diet. But there'll be times when you take too long to eat and your blood sugar levels get low. Without going into more detail, again, I went into the detail in the other video about the 3 constraints that you need to manipulate in order to make this diet work. But when your blood sugar levels get low, that's when you really want to go for something faster than honey. Apple juice is something I also used in there. I forgot to mention as well. Honey and apple juice were some of the faster energy sources I used. I also recommend pineapple juice for many benefits it has for health. But when your blood sugars get really low, it's a good time to introduce just the straight glucose or dextrose and hydrolyte. So I'm finding adding pre-workouts into this diet works really good. So if you're someone who's never thought of really trying pre-workouts much, or if you do try pre-workouts, I do recommend supplementing your pre-workouts regularly with this diet on particular the days that you're doing a lot of exercise and following this diet. Pre-workouts on those days are really essential. I found it to be synergistic with the fact that this is such a high glycemic index diet. It's a very synergistic amalgamation between pre-workouts and the different supplements they have in there along with the caffeine in it. And I would recommend, for a lot of people who don't seem to know much about pre-workouts, I've done a deep dive into it, you want to get yourself a non-stim plus a stim, because if you are sensitive to caffeine, you only want to have a quarter a scoop, half a scoop, or even less. I microdose all my supplements, but if you're having not a lot, you want to get non-stim too, so you can put extra ingredients in there that are going to give you more nitrogen oxide and more blood flow, more beta-adaptane to reduce lactic acid and so on and so forth. So getting a non-stim in there is also really important. And also get a non-stim amino acid pre-workout, because you're getting other benefits which just not the non-stim's not going to have as much as the non-stim amino acids when it comes to the amino acids involved. So you want to get a non-stim and a non-stim amino acid, and then you want to add your stim, your stim pre-workout in there as well. So you want to mix it all together. I can make another video. I will make another video probably on just pre-workouts, because there's a few ingredients you want to get, and when you combined all the best ingredients on the market, it's been really, really good for me in particular, because I used to have pre-workouts and I used to find them okay, but now that I've combined every single good and popular pre-workout ingredient on the market into one pre-workout, it's been really powerful. So I will make another video on that, but I recommend combining that with this diet. And yeah, so that's pretty much the whole video, everything I wanted to talk on. So yeah, I'm going to continue reposting how I go. I've got 12 kilos to go till I reach my goal. And yeah, I'll let you know how it goes. And if you learned something today, feel free to drop a like. And yeah, we'll keep you posted.